Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Good Grief Life After Loss. I am Skylar Jackenthal, and if you're new here, this is a space where we talk about the real, the raw, the often invisible experiences and emotions of grief, especially as young people trying to just keep living after losing someone we love. So today's episode is one that I've been thinking about for a while. It's about milestones, all of the big, emotional, difficult moments that we experience after losing someone. The ones like the first birthday without them, the first Christmas without them, and Thanksgiving, the first school year, the first time something amazing happens, and all you want to do is text them, and you can't. Those firsts suck. They are brutal. There's no way around that. But what I want to talk about today is something that often doesn't get enough attention, and that is the seconds, the thirds, everything after that. Because in some way, those are even harder, honestly. When you lose someone, when someone dies, the world wraps around you for a little while. People check in on you for the first Thanksgiving, the first anniversary without them, your first time doing really anything new. You're getting checked in on, you're getting messages. There are cards and calls and maybe even social media posts about your person. In my case, there were so many social media posts about Sam on his first anniversary. It's like everyone collectively knows that the first year is going to be difficult and that they need to show up for you and support you. And it is difficult. The first year is brutal. It's waking up to their absence every single day. It's trying to go through the motions of life while learning how to breathe again. The first can feel impossible and so just sad. And it deserves to be talked about in its own space. But something strange happens after that first year, and that's what I want to talk about today. The second year rolls around, and suddenly it's quiet. Quieter than you expected, quieter than you experienced the first year. People who showed up the first time, only half of them are there texting and calling the second time around. The teacher who once gave you grace is a little less forgiving the second time around. They assume you're better and you no longer need special circumstances. Even you might think, like, shouldn't this hurt less by now? Or maybe you feel like you aren't allowed to give yourself a day off from life because it's been 2 years now and your excuse is no longer valid. But just because another year has gone by does not mean it doesn't hurt anymore. Before I dive deeper into this episode, I do first just want to take a moment to acknowledge the people in my life who have never for even a second let me feel like Sam is forgotten or that I am forgotten on those important milestones. And though I feel like every year I underestimate them, I assume that they will finally forget to text me this year. They don't. They really never do. And so if you are one of those people in my life listening to this episode, just truly thank you for never forgetting to remind me that I am loved, that someone is thinking about me on those extra hard days, and that Sam is being remembered. There are no words to describe just how wonderful that is. But back to the episode. For me, it was the second year after Sam died that was one of the hardest because the fog and the shock had lifted and reality had finally set in. I feel like that first year without Sam, I was still in denial and not really accepting that he was gone. But when year 2 rolls around, it's like, okay, it's time to wake up and realize he is not coming back. And the same milestones come back around, but this time they feel lonelier. There isn't the same space to grieve. My excuse of my brother just died, this is my first year without him, was suddenly gone. And I do remember thinking, does everyone just assume I'm done grieving and I'm better because the calendar flipped and it's another year? Because I'm not done. I will never be done. And it just felt like I was supposed to just forget about it, maybe be sad for a second on the way to school, shed a tear, and then go on with my day. And that sucked. But here's what I've learned since then. Grief certainly does not follow a timeline. It doesn't end after 12 months. It doesn't expire with the first anniversary. In fact, milestones tend to bring up grief again and again and again in waves. And that makes sense because milestones are about growth and change and celebration, all things we would want to share with the people we love. So when that person isn't here, that joy almost feels incomplete, or maybe sometimes even wrong, like you shouldn't feel joy when they're not able to experience it with you. And if you have lost someone, you probably have felt this too. For example, maybe you got into the college you've dreamed of, and instead of texting them, you're just staring at the screen. Or you're standing at prom or graduation or your birthday dinner, and all you can think of is like, they would love this, they should be here, they should see this. And for me, honestly, what I find to be the most painful is thinking about future events, like things that haven't even happened already make me sad. For example, like I will think about my wedding day and what that's gonna look like without my big brother, and that truly breaks my heart. Like I'll go on TikTok and I'll watch videos of girls doing their first look with their brother. And of course, I don't think Sam and I would have ever done that. It feels a little too cheesy for us, but like the fact that I don't even have that option, like that sucks. I hate it. And also to think that one day I will vow to like spend the rest of my life with someone who never even got the chance to meet Sam. That really is just such a weird and sad feeling. I hate it. It honestly, it just pains me to even imagine my future and know that Sam will never be in it. Like, and that's been the reality for almost 10 years now, but like even as I'm just saying that right now, like that hurts. That freaking sucks. I don't like that. And that pain does not shrink because it's the second, fifth, 10th time you've done this experience without them, or it's been years since they passed. In some ways, honestly, that pain is sharper year after year after year because you know what to expect. You know they won't show up. You know what it's like to hold that absence in your hand. Like for me, even when I think about Christmas, like the first Christmas without Sam, it was just me and my mom. And it was sad and it was a little awkward because it was like there's only two of us just sitting here watching each other open presents. And this whole ordeal only takes like 15 minutes and now what? But it's the years that have followed now that are like hold that little extra bit of sadness because I know what to expect. I know like that feeling of like, wow, Sam is not here for this. It's just the two of us. And knowing that we're both sad and both missing him. And so it's like that anticipation of those events. It's like going off the high dive. The first time is not scary, but then for me at least, all the times after that are terrifying because I know what to expect and I know it's scary. But the world does not really always understand that, and people who haven't felt grief don't understand that necessarily. The second year comes with fewer check-ins, less compassion, less space, less understanding, and it can feel like everyone else has moved on and you're the only one still carrying that weight. So if that is you feeling that way, you're sitting here in year 2 or 3 or year 10 and you're still hurting on the milestones, I want you to know you are not alone. You're not crazy, you're not weak, you're not behind grieving standards. You are literally just a human, a grieving human who has lost someone. And love, especially deep, deep love, does not just vanish after a year. Like, honestly, it sometimes feels like we give people more compassions for breakups than death. Like, years after a breakup, someone's still like mourning their ex, and that's fine, but like years after someone died, it's like, all right, time to get over it, back to reality. Anyways, if you can relate at all to this, and I think most people who have experienced loss probably do, because we all experience those milestones, and we're going to experience them forever, they don't just go away, then I want to offer you a few thoughts, things that I have found to honestly be really helpful when navigating these repeating milestones. First, give yourself permission to feel. Even if it's year 2 or 3, even if no one else seems to remember, you remember, and that is reason enough. In this case, my favorite move is to plan a vacation day from work so that I have the space to feel my feels uninterrupted. I think last year Sam's anniversary was on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and I just took a day off in the middle of the week for PTO so that if emotions came up, if I wanted to be sad, if I wanted to do literally whatever I wanted to do, I didn't have to worry about going to the office and answering Slacks. And honestly, that was like the best gift I could have given myself. And unfortunately, this year, For Sam's birthday, which is coming up the second week of June, I will have my all team on site. The whole company will be together, and that was like my job, was to plan this whole event. So I will not be missing that event. But I will certainly be making sure to give myself time and space throughout that day to think about Sam, to remember him, to do something to honor him. Which brings me to my second point, which is to create space to honor that person in your own way. So that could look like lighting a candle, just going on a walk alone, writing them a letter, wearing something that reminds you of them, wearing their clothes, or just saying their name out loud and remembering them. For me, I just love, like, on an anniversary or a milestone where I'm really missing Sam, I just love listening to his favorite songs, which are like Katy Perry and Taylor Swift. And it just honestly always makes me smile to remember seeing Sam singing Katy Perry Firework in the kitchen. You don't need a public ritual for it to matter, and I've done it, and I love doing the balloon release and being with my friends. I love doing that, but it can feel just as special to do something in private on your own that no one else even recognizes is you honoring that person you lost. Third thing is, don't be afraid to talk about them even if others don't bring it up. Some people definitely avoid mentioning our person because they're afraid to make us sad, to make us remember. And even in my case, like as a friend supporting someone who's lost someone, even sometimes I feel uncomfortable bringing them up because I don't want to make them sad. But I will say saying their name keeps them close. And personally, I love when someone gives me the space to tell a funny story about Sam. It makes me happy to remember him as his crazy, goofy self, and it really makes me happy to be able to share that memory with others so that that's how they now think of him. Finally, the last thing I want to do is encourage you to reach out. If you know a milestone is coming up, like a birthday, an anniversary, whatever it is, text a friend. Literally just say, hey, just a heads up, this day is going to be hard for me. Can I lean on you? Can we go grab ice cream? Can we go for a drive? Can you come over for a movie night? Can we FaceTime? Whatever it is. If you're listening as that friend, as that person who wants to support them, be the one who remembers. Put it in your calendar and remember every single year to send a text that just says, hey, I know this day is hard for you. I want you to know it still matters and I'm thinking of you. Like, that simple act means the world. Also, I just want to say, if you are listening to this as a support system for someone, if you are not the one who's lost someone, but you're the friend who's trying to be there to support a fellow friend who has experienced the loss of a loved one, first off, thank you. Thank you for taking on that role. And I can say personally, I've been in your shoes as well. Of course, I have been and I am the one who is grieving, but I also, unfortunately, have been in the shoes of having many dear friends in my life lose someone very close to them. And so I've been on both sides and know what it's like to also be that support system and really not necessarily know the right way to act, the right things to say, how to support them. It is difficult. I have experienced it firsthand. But I do just want to say, I think the best way to support someone is to just simply show up, to let them know that they're not alone and to let them know that you're thinking of them. And so I think it's easy to think on these anniversaries or milestones, especially as the years go by, if it's been 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is, to think like, I don't want to send a message because I don't want to remind them of this sad time, and what are the odds that maybe they forgot it was this person's anniversary or birthday, or they lost their mom but they didn't even notice it was Mother's Day, so they aren't even sad today. Whatever it is, it's easy to think that as the years go by, like, hey, maybe they aren't as sad about it anymore, maybe they don't think about it as often, and to not want to be the one to remind them of that pain by sending them a message to just say, I'm thinking of you. But I am here to tell you that they will never forget. They will never hit a milestone, an anniversary, a birthday, whatever it is, and not remember the person they lost. If they lost their mother, they will never, ever, ever have a Mother's Day and not be thinking about the beautiful mother who raised them and the person they lost. Even for me on National Siblings Day, which is like a fake holiday, I see the posts all over social media and I spend the whole day thinking about Sam and like, wow, I wish I could have a reason to post. And not in the context of I miss my dead brother, but I love life with my alive brother. And if you're thinking like, hey, it's this person's parent or sibling's birthday, it's their anniversary, you have it in your calendar, you remember, and you're thinking, but should I message them? What if they were having a great day and my text makes them really sad, or my call upsets them or reminds them of the loss? Just know, like, they remember, they are thinking about it. They probably are sad. Maybe they're doing something to celebrate them, but just know, like, they did not forget. And to get a message from someone, in my case especially, now it's been almost 10 years, to get a message from a friend on like year 8, year 9, that tells me they still remember, they're still thinking about me, they're still thinking about Sam, they still care. Like, there's no words to describe how just amazing it is to know that someone is still thinking of you and someone still remembers that your pain is relevant. So, if you are listening to this as a friend, as a support system, I just want you to know that you remembering, you reaching out, you caring, it truly, truly does mean the world. So keep doing what you're doing. I know it's hard, and sometimes it feels tough to know what to say, when to say it, how to show up and support them, but just know you showing up in any capacity means the world. So, thank you. And if you're sitting here wondering if you should be telling the people in your life about an anniversary, a milestone, a tough day coming up for you, and you're worried about what they're going to think or about burdening them, please just think about yourself. Don't think about other people. Because I think there's nothing worse than people not knowing, and it's just like you have to be sad on your own, which happens, of course. Like, you're going to move into life, and your coworker, you're not going to tell all of your coworkers, hey, this is a situation, I'm going to have a tough day. Like, your whole office is not going to know you need support, but I do think it's important to find someone you can trust, confide in, and just let them know that you need a little extra support and love on these certain days. So, all that being said, grief does not get easier, and it is not on a schedule. It just changes and adapts. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's a completely different beast than it was the year before. And the milestones, whether it's the 1st, the 2nd, the 10th, they always stir up emotion, as they should. But over time, at least if they don't get easier, we build tools, we build strength, we build community, and we learn to carry that love alongside the loss. And I just want you to know you are not forgotten. Your grief is not invisible, and even if no one is counting, it feels like no one remembers, I do promise you are not alone. But I do really, really hope that we can all find a little bit of courage to find just one person in your life that you trust. Reach out to them and tell them you need support when you do. Ask them to be there for you. Ask them like, hey, let's just go for a drive and get ice cream, or can you come over and watch a movie, or let's FaceTime, whatever it is. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the support and the love you receive. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up to this space, for holding room for both your grief and your growth. And if this episode spoke to you, and I really hope it did, I would love to hear from you. You can either comment on this episode, leave a review, or reach out on Instagram. I'm at goodgrief.pod. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to get your thoughts. Feel free to reach out with any questions, and let's start a dialogue. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and we'll talk soon.